Welcome everyone to Physics 132 Lab. This video will serve as a quick primer to get you geared up and ready to go and kind of streamline the process of lab for this quarter. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at some of the details pertaining to this course. Now everyone should have gotten an email that had a link to the following syllabus. Now this syllabus will serve as the central document for the course. A few things to keep in mind is the first thing are Zoom office hours. So if I click here, you can book either group lab learning sessions. If you have questions, make sure you book those 3 hours in advance to ensure availability. And those will be connecting via Zoom. And there can be up to 200 people on one of those calls. So don't worry about there being more than one person. If you would like, for instance, to have private office hours, just click on this other box over here to book a private meeting time. All right, so office hours, Physics 132 lab. Next, you're going to sign up for a lab group. Many of you have done this already, so click on this link, right? You sign up for a lab, make sure you include your name, meeting method, and meeting time that your group gets to decide upon. And then next is the recitation and lab report. Recitation and lab report each are due at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday, April 12th. Every Sunday at midnight, your recitation and lab report are due. And those you can find right here. If I click here, I open up the recitation number 1. Now you can download this file and print it out and complete the work by pencil, or if you want to do everything by hand, you can just write out the question and write everything out. Or if you have a tablet and you want to use a smart pencil, you can just write it on your smart tablet like that. All right, now the lab report also is going to be here. Right now there's only lab 1 because we're only in week 1. And this contains all the information relevant to the lab. So there are 4 pages for this lab. All right, now what's the approach for this lab? Well, this lab is discovery-based. You're like a detective looking for clues to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Now, all the experiments we do will obviously be virtual. And treat this as a learning experiment where you're working together with your group to try to derive the right or to come to some kind of conclusion based on what the experiment is asking. Everything is posted online and you're free to work on the material anytime during the week. That is step number 1. There's no official meeting time for this class, so you can pick your lab group, pick your meeting time and method, and just make sure you've indicated that on the spreadsheet. Coordinate with your group members. Submit 1 lab write-up per group each week by 11:59 p.m. on Sunday. I suggest creating a Google Doc when you're hanging out in Zoom or another video sharing software. And that way you can all collaborate together simultaneously, open up any relevant simulations that you need, and that will aid the process of working on the report. So I'll go over a little bit more of the details of the report in a moment. Just to point out here, though, it's very important that you use the correct naming convention. So here's the naming convention, L4G7.pdf. All your files should be saved as a PDF. Now, if you're group number 7 and you're submitting lab report number 4, this is the name that you would give your file. It's very important that you use the correct naming convention. 1 lab report per group, submitted each week using the correct naming convention. All right, so now about a recitation. So each week, you're going to submit recitations individually. And here, there's also a naming convention for the recitation. Those are like example problems that will help you with the lab. So here's the naming convention. You're gonna, again, want to save it as a PDF. And if you are student number 29, as per the spreadsheet, and you're submitting recitation number 6, the file name would be 29r6.pdf. It can be very easy to use your smartphone to upload a PDF using free apps such as PDF Element, ScanBot, Scanner Pro, Evernote, or Cam Scanner. There's a number of different free ones that allow you to create PDFs very simply from your phone. All right, then here's the whole schedule each week. So after your group is done lab number 1 and you're ready to submit, you've saved it as a PDF. I'm going to click on this hot link. And you're basically going to drag and drop. Someone from your group is going to drag and drop your lab into this file. Make sure everyone's name, though, is actually inside the file itself. And then individually, I'm going to click R1, and everyone individually is going to upload their recitation problem for each week. And you can see all the experiments laid out all the way here through June 7th. So you should have 3 people per group. And like I said, you can do it anytime during the week. Here's the sign up again for any Zoom office hours or Zoom lab, group lab learning sessions. Here again, I've just made an important notice of the naming convention. All right, group lab reports. Well, each week, it's important that you assign someone to be the main writer, and this is going to be the person who maybe is writing more than the others, although you're collaborating each week. You should indicate which person this is by underlining their name in the write-up. And you should rotate throughout the quarter so that by the end of the quarter, everyone has done 2 or 3 group reports by the end of the quarter. Now, there's a lot of flexibility in how you write your report. Basically, what I'm looking for, though, is organization, logical flow, and completeness. The write-up is normally going to be a couple of pages long once you have included your data tables, graphs, and any analysis. Sometimes analysis, meaning equations, are hard to do on the computer. And you can also feel free to just do those by hand, print out your document, write in your equations by hand, and then scan it and upload it that way. Just make sure you're complete and you explain everything that you are doing. So basically, each lab report should basically have the following sections. You're going to want to have a title, name of all group members, and whoever's the recorder, their name should be underlined. A goal, which is basically like a purpose, 1 or 2 sentences. Data and analysis, so plots, calculations, anything relevant to the lab procedure. Organizing the work neatly as you go. Make sure you label everything and show sample calculations for your work. Follow-up questions. These are things you do at the end. Once you've taken your data, there may be multiple follow-up questions that help you to discuss some of the results you've got. Summary table of results. This is very important. It normally includes one or two particular numbers that were relevant to the experiment. So for example, if you were measuring, if the purpose of the lab was to find the acceleration due to gravity, and you have an experimental number and a theoretical number, that is going to be the most important number to put in your result. You don't need to include raw data in your summary table, just your experimental result, what is expected, and any percent difference. Conclusion is basically where you discuss your results from the physical world. So normally, you never want to include anything like human error, but you always want to be very specific in terms of if your model didn't give you exactly what was expected, try to explain where the error might be coming from. Finally, grading. Well, recitations are worth 10% of your lab grade. And the other 90% comes from your labs. Now, labs are graded on a scale of 0 to 3, 3 being excellent or perfect, maybe a 1 minor mistake, and 0 is no submission. 1 and 2 is either a few mistakes, poor lab report, several stuff missing, things like this. So if you're putting in about 3 hours of work per week, and you're focused during that time, you're prepared for your group meeting sessions, you should have no problem getting a 3 on your lab. Your total lab grade at the end is just accumulated based on all the individual labs throughout the quarter. And that's essentially it for the introduction to Physics 132. Welcome to the class. And I wish you the best this quarter and stay in touch. Each week, as I mentioned, we're not going to be meeting regularly, but I'm available, of course, every single week to answer questions as you go along, but you're going to want to choose with your group a time that is most convenient to meet. Welcome to Physics 132 Virtual Lab, and welcome to the spring quarter.